The Dallas Cowboys are once again in the spotlight, and this time, it's all about trade talk. Sitting at 3-3-1, it's been a strange road to .500, but the season is far from over. The NFC is wide open, and Dallas still has a real shot to make some noise if they play their cards right. Their defense has shown flashes of brilliance. Week 7 was definitely a step forward, but let's be honest, there's still room for improvement. 22 points allowed isn't terrible, but it's not elite either. And if this team wants to compete with the best, a few smart moves could make all the difference. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your fellow Cowboys fans. And of course, hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Now, back to business. Should the Cowboys make a move before the deadline? If you're a Dallas fan, you've probably got mixed feelings. On one hand, there's excitement, the idea of adding a key piece and going for a playoff push. On the other, there's the risk of giving up too much for a short-term gamble. The Cowboys have solid draft capital to work with, 2 first-round picks, a second, a fourth, and a pair of projected fifth-rounders. Some of those compensatory picks aren't locked in yet, but Dallas has enough assets to work with if the right opportunity comes along. Personally, I'd be open to moving one of those first-rounders, but only for a player who can make a long-term impact. Someone like Max Crosby? That'd be a dream addition. Realistically, though, he's probably staying put. Still, if the right name becomes available, the Cowboys shouldn't hesitate. The NFC is anyone's to claim, and this might be the perfect time to strike. Here's the challenge: true elite, long-term players almost never hit the trade market. When they do, it's usually once a year, and those deals are lightning in a bottle. More often than not, teams don't let go of that kind of talent. Sure, I'd gladly move a few day 3 picks if it meant adding real help. But the question is, would that actually move the needle? Dallas doesn't just need another edge rusher, they need a difference maker, someone who can change games when it matters most. That's probably why Jerry Jones hasn't been overly excited by what's out there right now. The market just doesn't seem to have that one move that screams Super Bowl push. Still, the next couple of weeks will tell us a lot. As teams start to separate, the contenders from the pretenders, the trade landscape will become clearer. There's no need to rush. Dallas can afford to wait, see how things unfold, and make a smart move if the right opportunity comes up. Now I want to hear from you. Which player should the Cowboys trade for? Drop a realistic name in the comments. Some names floating around in the media include Bengals pass rusher Trey Hendrickson, who always seems to pop up in trade rumors. There have even been reports tying him to teams like the 49ers, Colts, Eagles, and yes, the Cowboys. But let's be honest, not every report out there holds weight. Until something real surfaces, all we can do is speculate, and wait to see if Dallas decides to swing for the fences or play it safe. Let's talk about credibility, because not every report out there deserves your attention. Some sources have missed the mark before when it comes to the Cowboys' draft and trade predictions. That's why when names like Trey Hendrickson pop up again in trade rumors, you've got to take them with a grain of salt. According to insiders like Diana Russini and Ian Rapoport, the situation around Hendrickson doesn't seem very promising right now. Sure, he's drawing interest from teams like the 49ers, but the Bengals aren't actively shopping him. And honestly, it makes sense. After their big Thursday night win, Cincinnati is right back in the mix in the AFC North. They've got the Jets next, and if they can stack another win, they'll be firmly alive in the playoff race, just like the Cowboys fighting to stay relevant in the NFC. If the Bengals had collapsed earlier in the season, maybe Hendrickson would have been on the market. But as it stands, Cincinnati is holding tight, waiting to get Joe Burrow back in December. Until then, they're not selling, they're surviving. Bottom line, Cowboys fans shouldn't get their hopes up for Trey Hendrickson just yet. The Bengals are focused on staying competitive, and unless something major changes, that door probably stays closed. Now let's talk about some realistic trade options, specifically, a pair of pass rushers from Miami, Bradley Chubb and Jaelan Phillips. Both players have flashed serious potential, even though the Dolphins' season has been a bit rocky. Chubb has 4 sacks this year with a pressure rate just under 11%. It's not elite, but it's productive, and for a Cowboys team looking to strengthen its defensive front, that kind of consistency could matter. Phillips, meanwhile, is younger and more explosive off the edge, though injuries have slowed him down at times. He's got 2 sacks this season but a stronger pressure rate than Chubb, proving he can create disruption even when the stat sheet doesn't show it. Here's where it gets tricky, the contracts. Chubb already got paid, which means trading for him isn't as simple as it sounds. He'd be affordable for Dallas this year, but the long-term cap hit in 2026 and 2027 could become a major issue. Miami, on the other hand, wouldn't save much money by moving him, since they just extended him not long ago. So, what's the play here? You're not giving up a second-round pick for Chubb. That's too steep for a player who might only be a short-term rental. If the Cowboys could get him for less, maybe a mid-round pick, that's a conversation worth having. As for Phillips, his injury history adds risk, but the talent is undeniable. If he could stay healthy, he'd fit beautifully into Dan Quinn's system and give Dallas another legitimate threat opposite Micah Parsons. Bottom line, both players could help, but only if the price is right. The Cowboys need impact talent, not expensive gambles. When you're talking about adding a pass rusher mid-season, cost always matters, both in picks and dollars. Every trade target comes with a price tag, and even if it's prorated for the rest of the year, that number still counts. For someone like Bradley Chubb, you're looking at roughly $7 million for the remainder of the season. The Cowboys can afford that, but the real question is, should they? Do you want Dallas to go after a pass rusher right now? Type Y for yes, N for no in the comments. Now, here's a name that truly stands out, Jermaine Johnson of the New York Jets. According to Diana Russini and Ian Rapoport, teams have been calling the Jets about him, and for good reason. Johnson hasn't been on the field a ton due to injuries, but when he's healthy, the talent is undeniable. Back in 2023, he put up 7.5 sacks and 11 tackles for loss, showing flashes of what made him a first-round pick. His pressure numbers this season aren't far off from those breakout levels, even while playing on a struggling Jets team. Here's the upside: Johnson is still under team control through 2026, thanks to that 5th-year option worth about $13.4 million. That's manageable for a player with his potential. His current cap hit for the rest of this year would be around $1.7 million, which is incredibly affordable. This is exactly the kind of player Dallas should be calling about: young, hungry, talented, and still developing. He's not a rental, he's a long-term piece who fits the Cowboys' timeline perfectly. Of course, the Jets don't have to trade him. If they hold on to him, his value could rise by the off-season. But if there's even a chance to land him now, it's the kind of bold move that could change everything for Dallas. So, what do you think? Should the Cowboys make that call? And don't forget, if the Cowboys make a move, we'll have full coverage right here. So make sure you're subscribed and ready for every update as it drops. Now, let's talk about a name that keeps popping up in trade conversations: Jeffery Simmons of the Tennessee Titans. Every season, fans seem to dream about adding a force like Simmons, and honestly, it's easy to see why. He's one of the most dominant interior defenders in the NFL, powerful, explosive, and disruptive. After the Titans moved on from head coach Brian Callahan, a few teams reportedly reached out to see if Simmons might be available. According to Ian Rapoport and Diana Russini, Tennessee's answer was a firm no. Simmons isn't going anywhere. He did pick up a minor injury in Week 7, and details are still developing, but that doesn't change much. Simmons is a cornerstone piece for the Titans, not a trade chip. Now, as much as I love his game, adding him just doesn't make sense for Dallas right now. He's a phenomenal player, no question, but his contract is massive, roughly $20 million per year. Pair that with what the Cowboys already owe Motzie Smith, Osa Odigizua, and Clark, and you're looking at 3 high-priced defensive tackles with limited rotation time. That's not smart roster building. You can't pour that much money into one position group and expect balance across the roster. Bottom line, Jeffery Simmons is a dream player, but not a practical move for Dallas. The Cowboys need to invest their resources elsewhere, areas that can elevate the whole team, not just one position.